Are South Africans desensitized to corruption? It's been a week since student Sibongile Mani was sentenced to 5 years in prison for spending over 800,000 rand of the 14 million rand NSFAS funds mistakenly deposited into her account. Since then, people have been divided over the sentencing, with some people saying she is not guilty because the money was deposited into her account. Rivonia Circle Chairperson Songezo Zibi says sympathy for Mani is proof of how low morality has sunk in South Africa. Well, he joins us now via the virtual platform to talk to us about his opinion piece. Mr. Zibi, thank you very much for your time. I want to start off this conversation with a quote that you mentioned in your article, and you're asking the question, what has happened to our basic ethical standards that so many equivocate over something that is clearly wrong? There's no doubt that you are of the firm view that Sibongile Mani is guilty of theft. But as we mentioned in the introduction, some people holding the belief that she shouldn't be held accountable for what many see as theft. Justify your reasons for calling her basically a thief.
Good morning, Claudia, and thank you for inviting me. So the court has determined that she stole the money. And to explain my own position, I'm not even using the law. I am using what we should all know about when you get to own something that was previously not yours. If a friend of mine is supposed to deposit into my bank account 5,000 rand, and they accidentally deposit 10,000 rand, I will return the 5,000 rand to them. If I am supposed to share that 5,000 rand with you and give you 2,500 rand, and I keep all of it for myself and I don't give you anything, I think we all know that this is wrong. What I'm saying here is that there is a difference between being mistakenly given something and being intentionally given something. You do not need a law degree to understand that when there is a mistake, you cannot construe it to be an intention. There is no way in our lives where we do that.
Yeah.
And so I do not understand why people struggle with such a simple concept.
Well, let me pick up on this, and it is your words where you say you're not using a legal argument, in part because you're not a lawyer. So am I. I'm not a lawyer, so the two of us are not lawyers. But one person who is a lawyer is former public protector Thuli Madonsela. And she had these words to say when asked to comment on this particular case of Sibongile Mani. And she says, I quote, "I know of no case where the erroneous recipient was considered a criminal and jailed." What do you make of Professor Madonsela's argument here?
I think she has framed that statement correctly. She said she knew of no case. There are cases. She just didn't know about them. So before I wrote the opinion piece, I went and had a look. There are actually numerous cases where this is defined. In fact, one involves a situation where the mistaken recipient of the money was being liquidated, and the liquidators wanted to take the money mistakenly given to them. The High Court, and I think the Supreme Court of Appeal, determined that money mistakenly deposited into the recipient's account could not be included in the liquidation. It must be returned to the party that paid it. But there are numerous other cases. So she didn't know about them, but there are cases like that.
Yeah. So if a person of Professor Thuli Madonsela's stature is raising an argument against what you have said in your article, where you're basically questioning the moral standards of the country, do you worry about the direction of the country?
Look, what I worry about in the advocate's instance is that she didn't check. I know that she qualified a statement and says she knows of no case, but I think just like I did, she kind of needed to go and have a look if there is such a case. That would have cleared up the confusion, because I don't think that she is somebody who would condone something that is wrong. We all know her track record. That's on the one hand. I think what is happening here, Tolly, partly is that people are so disgusted with senior politicians and business people getting away with no accountability for theft at all. And the book is thrown at smaller people who may not have, stolen in the manner that the powerful have been stealing from South Africans for many years and not being punished. I have sympathy for that frustration, because I am angry about it too.
Yeah.
But it is very important that we remain faithful to our own standards as a society. And because we cannot understand all the statutes, what we really have to rely upon on a day-to-day basis as people mostly is our understanding of basic social norms and ethics. And we must never let that go.
All right. Finally, and very briefly for me, Mr. Zibi, so against the very background you paint of endemic corruption in the country, deceitful politicians, including greedy business people, what lessons should we draw from the Sibongile Mani case?
The lessons we must draw, not just from the Sibongile Mani case specifically, but it's really the reaction to the outcome of the case that we must draw on. And that we are not just going to fix our country through a set of laws. We do need to look inwardly at ourselves, at the collapse of basic values, and reflect on what we need to do on our own in order to restore the social fabric, because the powerful we complain about are clearly not going to do it, and we should not expect them to do it. So we need to accept that personal and collective responsibility to build the society we want.
Songezo Zibi, thank you very much for your time.